You know, one of the most common questions people have during hurricane season is simple but serious. Should we be worried? Well, tonight, let's break down what's happening out there in the Atlantic. Right now, all eyes are on Tropical Storm Gabrielle. The good news? Gabrielle is expected to stay out at sea. That means no direct impact to South Florida. No immediate need to start stacking sandbags or boarding up windows. But, and this is important, just because Gabrielle itself won't hit us, that doesn't mean we can take our eyes off the tropics. This is September, prime time for hurricane activity. The Atlantic Basin is buzzing with energy. Alongside Gabrielle, forecasters are monitoring not one, but two additional tropical waves. These systems aren't storms yet, but they are worth watching closely, because conditions could shift over the next several days. So let's break it all down in plain language and talk about what these waves mean for us and what the experts are predicting. First, let's start with Gabrielle. As of now, Gabrielle is holding steady in the open waters of the Atlantic. It's spinning away from land, and forecasters expect it to possibly strengthen a little more over the next 24 hours. But here's the key point. The storm's track is staying out over the ocean. That means it's not expected to make a turn toward the United States or South Florida. If you're in coastal areas, you might notice some larger waves or rougher seas down the line. But for most of us, Gabrielle is not a direct concern. And that's the kind of update everyone wants to hear during hurricane season, knowing that at least for now, there's no immediate threat to our homes. But remember, storms can still shift and intensify in surprising ways, which is why meteorologists keep analyzing the latest satellite images and model runs around the clock. So while Gabrielle isn't a danger to us here, it's still part of a bigger tropical picture we can't ignore. Now, moving on to the first tropical wave being tracked. This one is currently located in the central Atlantic. Right now, it's producing scattered showers and thunderstorms. At the moment, it doesn't look very organized. In fact, one of the main challenges this wave is facing is dry air. Dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere acts almost like a shield against tropical development. It makes it harder for thunderstorms to grow and organize into a closed circulation. But here's the interesting part. Forecasters say conditions could start to improve later this week. If the wave can push through that pocket of dry air and move into more favorable waters, we might see a depression form. That wouldn't happen overnight, but perhaps toward the end of the week. Right now, the National Hurricane Center is giving it a 10% chance of development in the next 2 days, but up to a 60% chance over the next 7 days. That's a big jump, and it's why forecasters will be watching this wave very closely. Why does that chance of development matter? Well, think of it like this. A 10% chance means keep an eye on it, but don't stress yet. But when those odds climb to 60% over a week's time, that's a sign that the environment could become much more favorable. Warm ocean waters, lower wind shear, and more humid air can help fuel a system and allow it to organize. If this wave does become a tropical depression, the next step would be strengthening into a tropical storm. And if that happens, it could earn an official name. Right now, the next name on the Atlantic hurricane list is Humberto. After Humberto, the following name will be Imelda. So, if this central Atlantic wave manages to develop later this week, it could be the system that introduces Humberto to the 2025 hurricane season lineup. But again, as of now, early model guidance suggests this system may likely curve out to sea away from the United States. Still, with hurricane season in full swing, no one is taking anything for granted. Now, let's shift to the second tropical wave being tracked. This one is east of the Lesser Antilles, also kicking up showers and storms. Like the first wave, this system is not well organized. In fact, meteorologists describe it as disorganized, meaning thunderstorms are scattered and not yet forming into any kind of circular motion. That's an important distinction, because organization is the first real step toward development. Over the next several days, forecasters do see a possibility for some slow development, but the chances remain much lower compared to the central Atlantic wave. Right now, the National Hurricane Center gives it only a 10% chance of development in the next 2 days and about a 30% chance in the next 7 days. That's a relatively low probability, but it's not zero. And in the tropics, low odds can sometimes surprise us. The good news, however, is that even if this wave manages to strengthen a little, it's likely to turn north later this week. So what does a turn north really mean? For people living in South Florida or along the Gulf Coast, this is the phrase you want to hear. When a tropical system takes a northward turn, it often means it avoids the mainland U.S. and instead drifts into the open Atlantic. Now, that doesn't completely rule out impacts for island chains or shipping lanes, but it does ease concerns for Florida residents. In this case, the wave east of the Lesser Antilles does not pose a threat to us in Florida at this time. That's a relief. Still, meteorologists aren't letting their guard down. They know that early September through late October is historically the most active stretch of hurricane season. Storms can form quickly, and sometimes a system that looks weak one day can look much more organized just a few days later. That's why they stress staying updated with official forecasts rather than relying on rumors or guesswork. It's also worth mentioning why this time of year is so busy in the Atlantic. The peak of hurricane season comes in mid-September, when ocean waters are at their warmest and the atmosphere tends to favor storm development. Warm water acts like fuel for tropical cyclones. Once a cluster of thunderstorms finds the right conditions, that fuel can cause rapid growth. That's why even systems that look weak at first deserve close attention. The Central Atlantic wave, for example, might look like just scattered clouds and rain showers on satellite right now, but under the right conditions, that same wave could grow into a named storm within a matter of days. So even though South Florida isn't currently under threat, the overall message is clear. This is no time to let our guard down. Weather experts want the public to treat every advisory as a reminder to stay ready and stay aware. Another important detail is the naming list itself. Like we mentioned, Humberto is the next name on the list, followed by Imelda. These names aren't random. They're part of a rotating list created by the World Meteorological Organization. Each year, the Atlantic hurricane season has a predetermined set of names, and if a storm is particularly destructive, that name can be retired and replaced. For example, names like Katrina, Andrew, and Maria were retired because of their severe impacts in past years. Humberto, on the other hand, has been used before but remains active on the list. So, the next system to reach tropical storm strength will carry that name. It's a small but significant part of hurricane season because names help people identify and track storms more easily than just referring to them by numbers. As for Gabrielle, while it's staying out to sea, it still serves as a reminder of how unpredictable these systems can be. Just a few days ago, forecasters were uncertain how much it might strengthen, and while it hasn't turned into a major storm, its presence shows us the kind of activity we can expect as we head deeper into September. The Atlantic right now is like a chessboard with multiple pieces in motion. Some systems will fizzle out, some will bend harmlessly away, and others may grow stronger and force us to pay much closer attention. The important thing is not to assume anything until the data is clear. Hurricanes don't follow a script. They can shift paths, intensify unexpectedly, or fall apart just as quickly. And that's why forecasters stress patience, caution, and awareness above all else. So where does that leave us in terms of preparation? For South Florida residents, the immediate news is good. Gabrielle is not a threat. The Central Atlantic wave is still developing far away, and the Lesser Antilles wave is weak and turning north. But preparation is not about reacting at the last minute. Meteorologists always remind people, have a plan ready long before a storm is on your doorstep. That means checking your emergency kit, reviewing evacuation routes, and making sure your home is storm ready. Even though the current systems don't pose an immediate risk, we're still 2 months away from the official end of hurricane season, which comes on November 30th. That's plenty of time for more storms to form, and history shows us that some of the most powerful hurricanes have developed in late September or October. Looking ahead, the National Hurricane Center and other forecasting agencies will continue providing regular updates. Every advisory gives us new insight into whether a wave is gaining strength, losing steam, or shifting direction. These updates are based on satellite imagery, computer models, and on-the-ground observations from ships, buoys, and sometimes even Hurricane Hunter aircraft. It's an incredible amount of science and coordination at work, all aimed at keeping the public informed. And with modern technology, most of us can access these updates in real time, whether through apps, websites, or television broadcasts. The bottom line, you don't have to guess what's happening out there. The information is available, and staying plugged in is one of the best ways to stay safe during hurricane season. To wrap it all up, here's the big picture. Gabrielle is out to sea and not a threat to South Florida. The Central Atlantic wave is worth watching, with a chance of becoming Humberto by the end of the week, but it will likely curve away from the U.S. The Lesser Antilles wave is weak, disorganized, and also turning north, with low development chances. In short, Florida is in the clear for now, but this is hurricane season, and the story can always change, so stay prepared. Stay informed, and remember, awareness is your best tool. Every storm that doesn't hit us is a reminder to use the time wisely. Make sure your family is ready and respect the power of nature. Hurricane season runs until November 30th, and with names still left on the list, the Atlantic could have more stories to tell before it's all said and done.